Inside the Birds is back. What's going on, everybody? It's Geoff, Mosher, Adam, Caplan. The Eagles play a game tonight. They play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium. It's Monday Night Football. We did preview the game on Friday. However, as we always do, we got up-to-the-minute information on matchups, on injuries, everything. And if you didn't get whatever you got on Friday, you'll get it in this podcast. And if you don't get it in this podcast, then we've got our pregame show tonight from 5 to 7 o'clock right here on the Inside the Birds YouTube platform and where else? Other social media platforms that it also streams on. Most people watch it on YouTube, so we look forward to having everybody there. It's going to be me, Adam, Greg Cosell, Jason Avant, and I don't know, Adam, it feels like forever, right? Between when the Eagles last played the Vikings and today. And listen, I've tossed and turned on this game. I don't think we did predictions at the end of the last pod. We saved it for this one.
Okay.
So we're going to give our game predictions in this pod. And I got to say, I've been wrestling back and forth on this.
Well, it's funny because I can't remember my score because I know you texted us to get because it'll be in tonight's rundown. But I'm like, wait a minute, what was this? I know I was kind of relatively low, but it's because when you try to predict high scoring games, more often than not, it doesn't turn out to be correct. But no, this one, well, look, the Eagles are a favorite for a reason. They're clearly the better team. That the better team doesn't always win. But one of the underrated stories about Nick Sirianni is how good the Eagles have been on the road since he became their head coach.
Very much so.
Usually don't see new head coaches like that. It's been kind of surprising.
Yeah, no, that is true. And big test for Nick, coming into this Monday night game against a good Tampa Bay team that is 2-0, surprising some people. You and I have both seen some tape. We'll get more into the tape breakdown in the also in the pregame show, but the Bucs are doing things, I would say, to capitalize or maximize the talent of what they have, whether it's the quarterback, the offensive line, the receivers that they have, and of course their nasty defensive front, which is very good. So we'll get into that even a little bit more in this podcast than we did on Friday. It's an interesting schedule this week because of Monday Night Football and the Eagles being on it. Q&A usually comes out on Tuesday. Quentin Michael, Jason Avant, but they're going to need to see the game, the tape, so they'll most likely come out Wednesday.
Okay.
All right, and then we'll probably have Gunner's Gun on One show come out on a different day, maybe Thursday. Just so that we spread things out because we got a lot of good content and programming up. So we'll do more updates on that. Of course, Inside the Tape with Greg Cosell and Clay Harbor. That'll also be on probably either maybe Wednesday night or Thursday too. However we distribute it. And of course, Inside the Birds post game tonight will be you, me, and Clay Harbor, who's been doing a great job. So looking forward to that. Want to welcome our new members to our Patreon channel, Kate, Ben, Matthias, and Matt. I'm sure they've been jumping all over the amazing John DiFilippo weekly chats that we've been having, Adam, because this last one was pretty good.
In fact, did you put, I know you put one clip out there for social media. It was pretty, it was John, because we don't really know how John's going to respond. We know he's going to talk about, the Eagles taped the previous week. He's going to have some notes on the next game, particularly if he's coached with or coached against that particular head coach. And it just so happened that Todd Bowles tried to hire him as his offensive coordinator when he was with the Jets, and the Eagles blocked him, John, from going there to interview with him because he was going to be hired as the OC. So just funny how things work out. And then it just so happens that John coached Kirk Cousins. So we've been very blessed and lucky to have John in our family here. He's donated his time to review the Eagles tape and also go inside all the decisions that coaches have to make. It's just such a unique kind of view and only exclusively for Patreon people.
Exactly. And along with that is your weekly Discord chat, which is people love your weekly Discord chat, which you do Wednesdays at 8 o'clock on almost every week, unless you change the time. But yeah, they've been fascinating. People love it. It's really the first way, right? Because the Eagles start practicing Wednesday, where they sort of get the first wave of intel from you, right there on Discord. So that's great.
Yeah. Oh, and then we're going to have a chalk talk. We're going to have, by the end of the week, we'll have our chalk talk with a former NFL executive or a former coach. We're working through our list of like 20 people. We're trying to narrow it down to one or two people and see what the best one is. Oh, we're going to definitely have Chuck Pagano on, the former Bears head coach, for Bears DC, former Colts head coach, who had Sean Desai work under him with the Bears. So we'll get an update of what he thinks about Sean's defense with the Eagles.
We will. Looking forward to that. All right. So on our Friday pod, we had injury information, but obviously because the Eagles didn't start practicing until I think Thursday of last week, right? Yes, yeah. There's more. The final injury report is out, and we know that a dozen Eagles were on the injury report, Adam, but only two are out for this game. One, Boston Scott with the concussion. The other, because he is still in. The point is, he's in the protocol still with Boston.
Oh, Boston Scott. Yes, you're allowed to practice in the protocol.
Right.
But he was progressing to a certain point, but he was not clear to play. So he is out. But the good thing is he was on the field. So he did some things on the field. That's good news. So we'll get into the lineup changes as this show progresses. Quez Watkins did not practice at all. He is out. So as you said, there are only two players out. Man, there are a lot of new players on the injury report. Man, these ribs injuries, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4 guys with rib injuries. Now, when they say ribs, it means multiple ribs, not one. Because if it was rib, it would say rib. So that means there's more than one. So the good thing is those guys appear that they're going to be available for this game.
Remember the Giants last year and their strange rash of neck injuries? This feels the same way with the Eagles and ribs this year. It's just very odd. But yeah, so with Boston Scott out, we know Kenneth Gainwell, he's back in. Yep. He's good to go. So it'll be very interesting. He also had a rib injury, but he carries no game status designation, so he's good to go.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see what we talked about all week, which is what is going to be the carries divvy between Gainwell and DeAndre Swift, who's coming off that 175 game and just the explosion that he had. I think that's going to be one of the more fascinating storylines of tonight.
100%. It's my top three. That would be one of my top three storylines. It's obviously the nickel position because it could go in a variety of ways, and the running back rotation between the two of them, how they're going to do it. Because Swift, yes, he did handle high volume, but he was clearly not a high volume back with the Lions. So it's one of the many reasons why they moved on from him. But he's super talented, so we look forward to seeing how they divvy that up, as you said. Devontae Smith. Now, here's the thing with his thigh and hamstring injuries. They're both new. Again, these are all a bunch of these injuries we're going to talk about today are new since the practice week progressed. But we don't know if it's the same leg. It's not clear. They don't list that right hamstring, left hamstring. They don't do that.
Right.
So we do wonder if it's the same leg. But nevertheless, he took all the first team reps in Saturday's practice that he normally would take in a final practice. So he's clear to play. Jack Stoll with an ankle injury. He took his normal reps in Saturday's practice, so he carries no game status designation and will play. Defensively, man, all of a sudden they got a lot of guys banged up.
Yeah.
Two other top three defensive tackles. Fletcher Cox with this lingering ribs injury. He's been cleared to play. No game status designation. Jordan Davis, the ankle injury is new, but he took his reps in Saturday's practice that he would normally take. He's no game status designation. Josh Sweat's injury is new, toe injury. He's been cleared to play. Zach Cunningham, another ribs injury, multiple ribs now, but he's been cleared to play. See, here's the thing though with these rib injuries. Teams see the injury report, and what I'm told is what teams do, Geoff, is once they get the injury report, they will have their pro people go and research through the coaching tape through the time. Like they'll go through the whole tape and they'll figure out at what point, where did it happen in the game if they could find it, and with which ribs. They'll look for that. Like teams do this because they want to know, okay, well, we know Zach Cunningham's pretty good against the run, but if they know what side of the ribs, if they know where it is, they can't always see it, but if you could see it, they're going to go after it.
NFL is a crazy business, man.
I know.
It really is.
I'm telling you what coaches have told me over the years.
I believe it. It's crazy. All right. So the good news, so the bad news is you got about 7 or 8 guys there who are all nursing some injuries. But the good news, as you mentioned, is that they don't carry a game status designation. They're expected to play, and you just hope that whatever is ailing them doesn't get aggravated during the game, because it is a significant number of guys on defense, and many of them are starters.
Couple more.
Yeah.
Couple more we got to get through though.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, James Bradbury has been cleared. He's been cleared out of the protocol. That's huge because Mike Evans has been incredible. And Chris Godwin, who has been playing, it's been interesting. You know, we were talking about this the last show. He's almost exclusively now on the outside because they're light they're light at the receiver position, so they moved to the outside because they just don't have the depth. And you really need Bradbury. As I have a fly that's buzzing. The same fly was here about 6 weeks ago. I don't think he's left our house.
Are you shacking up with Mike Pence? What's going on here?
I don't know. It's kind of weird. But anyway, but the bottom line is Bradbury's been cleared out of the protocol. That's huge. And they need him. Bree Blankenship has been cleared medically to play with his ribs injury. And Terrell Edmonds, who missed the first 2 days of practice, he's been cleared. He took his normal reps on Saturday. So that's great. So as we finish their injury report, which is very lengthy, we'll get to the Bucs in a couple minutes here. Boy, they escaped here. I mean, now obviously having a little bit more time to recover, as you set up the show today, they had 10 days, not the usual 7. So they've had extra time to prepare. That probably helped them this week.
Yeah. Listen, that's 7 guys that we just went through on defense, and they're all starters. So the extra time, I would imagine, really did help, as you just mentioned out. All right. So we'll talk about a few lineup changes as a result of some of the guys who are out. First, I want to remind everybody that Inside the Birds is the exclusive Jersey Shore resort. No, Inside the Birds is not a resort. Let me start that over. Let me remind you, Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City is the exclusive Jersey Shore resort of Inside the Birds. And we'll pause for a moment to hear from our friends at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
All right. So let's talk about some lineup changes. Obviously we it's not as much of a change, right? But with Boston Scott out once again, with a running back out, last time Gainwell, this time Boston Scott, Rashad Penny is the number 3 running back. How much Rashad Penny will even touch the ball tonight remains a question, but I never slammed the door on anything. It wouldn't surprise me if all of a sudden the Eagles tried to get him. It seemed last game, Adam, like they wanted to do anything but give him the ball.
100%.
And I don't know how much a guy can get in better condition in 10 days or whatever it is that just made him. But it just nothing surprises me with this team. They roll guys in and out and surprise me sometimes. But I kind of lean toward he's probably not going to see the ball unless he needs to.
Yeah. Now Penny. See, the old Rashad Penny was a home run hitter, basically. 2 years ago to end the season with Seattle, where he led the NFL in rushing for that final quarter of the season. He was a home run threat at any time, but he does not appear to be that guy anymore. He doesn't have a lot of juice left in his legs. And you're right. I mean, we all saw it. They did everything they could not to play him. Then you saw when Swift went to the sideline, he sat down on the bench for like maybe 3 minutes and he got up. It's appeared that he got his cleat, maybe he got the spikes rechanged. Who the heck knows? But boy, Swift was special. It was pretty fun to watch him. And as you said earlier, I cannot wait to watch this rotation. And quite frankly, Penny's just to me, it would only be an emergency guy. As a matter of fact, I don't think this is going to happen because the guy just got there. But if this new kid that's on the practice squad, now obviously they have. It's now early. If you're listening to us early in the morning, they have till 4 p.m. Eastern, because you're allowed to on Monday Night Football. You can make changes the day of the game, like a Sunday game. But they got the kid Kovac, who was an undrafted free agent last year. I mean, it would be something else. He just got here, but if he was a especially great special teams player, yeah, you can make the case to have him active on gameplay and only play him on specials and only be in the backfield in an emergency situation. But the bottom line is with Penny, I just don't know what he has left. He does not look really good.
Yeah, he has not, but it'll be interesting to see if 10 days gave him a little extra rest. I don't know. And we'll see. We will see. The other change would be with Quez Watkins out. Olamide Zaccheaus will be the number 3 receiver. He'll see some time in the slot, I imagine. And I think this line, the way I think this matchup is going to go, I feel like there'll be some opportunities for him in the middle of the field to catch the ball. And we'll see if he gets there or he does something, just because we know that Tampa Bay are very, very, very aggressive up front. And they also don't mind playing a zone behind their blitzes. So that does tend to leave the middle of the field open. But that doesn't mean he's going to be the guy that gets the ball. I just think that there'll be some opportunities there.
All right, couple things here. If Carlton Davis, we'll get to the Bucs injuries in a couple minutes here, but if Davis cannot play with his toe injury, that helps them because the Bucs do not have very good depth at corner. They have a rookie out of Rutgers as their nickel, who's a great story. Christian Eisen, undrafted free agent out of Rutgers, has been terrific. He won the nickel job coming out of training camp in the preseason, but he's a sort of a compact guy. They line up a little bit at linebacker. They'll line him up at safety. They'll line up as nickel corner. He's their nickel back right now. They don't have a very good depth. D. Delaney's a guy number 30 who will have the target on his back. Trust me on this. If he has to play a lot, if I'm the Eagles coaches, I'm spreading them out. Again, only if Davis can't play. Carl Davis is the best corner, and Dean's pretty good too, but Davis is recognized in personnel circles as being better. It just changes the matchups if Davis can't play, and we'll update this to tonight once the inactives come out, and we'll discuss the matchups on tonight's pregame show.
Elevations come out today too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you got to think that. We'll get to elevations in a second. Yep. All right. So Zakia, and obviously the number 4 wide receiver, Adam, would be Britton Covey. So if the Eagles have another injury at wide receiver, you think that maybe they'll elevate a receiver today?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yes,
yeah.
I do. See, he's their backup slot. See, he can't really play on the outside.
Right.
It's just not what he does. He's a backup slot and punt returner. Now, here are their options. Devin Allen, who, by the way, was very good in practice and training camp the final 2 or 3 weeks. Greg Ward is only a slot backup punt returner. That wouldn't make much sense to me. So unless it's
Joseph Ngata,
Joseph Ngata, right? Unless it's Ngata, I don't see it because what Allen obviously could be. He's another guy who could return kicks. Although he did a little punt returning in training camp. I don't think he's great at it, but that's one thing to watch tonight. We'll see what they have till 4 p.m. Eastern, and obviously again we'll update that. But that could be fascinating to see what happens here with if Allen ever gets up there, because we know his world-class speed. That would be kind of fun to watch.
Yeah. Oh God, especially if you can get one. I mean, again, the way this matchup shapes up, there should be some one-on-ones on the outside because the Bucs are very aggressive. Yep. That would be real. I wonder if that even factors into their thinking. Like, maybe against a different team, it might be Ngata, but against the team that's going to leave you one-on-one, you want Allen's speed. That'll also be interesting to see. They may not. By the way, they may not elevate a wide receiver. We just figure you don't want to be that short and only technically have 3 outside wide receivers. Really, 2 natural ones. Zacchaeus can play outside, inside, outside. But if he's going to be your slot this game, if he had to move outside, I guess he could. Let's say Devontae Smith got hurt, right? Yeah, right. He could move outside, and then you could play Covey in the slot. Yeah. All right. Buccaneer injuries. Offensive line, kind of an interesting development with Cody Mauch, right? They're starting right guard.
Yeah, this is new. The rookie from North Dakota State. Yep, with the crazy hair and the funny teeth, red hair. Yeah, someone's Senior Bowl. He was added late this week to the injury report with a back injury, but he took all his reps Saturday, and he should be in the lineup tonight. Remember, as we've talked about a lot earlier this week on our other shows, they have 5 offensive line changes. So from last season, summer due to injury, summer just because they have new players, whatever the case may be. So this is, they're not deep, and this is where the Eagles should dominate. This, to me, is the difference between both teams, and quite frankly, this is why the Eagles should be a favorite. But so that's one to keep an eye on. But right now, he should play. The one that disappoints me is Kalijah Cansey. Let's go to their defense.
Yeah,
he's going to miss a 2nd straight game with a calf injury. This guy's really gifted. And we'll get to the lineup changes in a minute. So Vita Vea did practice each day, but it was limited because they try to protect him. He should play tonight, but for some reason, if he's inactive, man, he's a game changer. If he can't play, he's so good.
Man, I might have to. Vita Vea is the type of player that if he doesn't play right, you change like either your score that you think it's going to be or the winner potentially. I just think, he's. I love watching Vita Vea play. He's like shot out from a cannon. He can take on 2 blockers. He can beat 1 blocker. He can move around for a guy who's like 340 pounds. I mean, he's lightning, man. He's really fun to watch. So we'll see if he'll be able to play. I mean, if he can't play, and if Carlton Davis, who's also listed as questionable, as you mentioned with the toe, can't play, forget it. Listen, I'm not trying to disparage the Buccaneers. They're all right team, but you take those 2 guys away. It's not like you're the Eagles, where if you took one defensive lineman away who's good, they still have 5 or 6 others. I mean,
yep.
at cornerback, if you take Carlton Davis away from this team, and I like Jamel Dean, he's a pretty good player, right? But if you take Carlton Davis away, that's really tough.
Because you're going right at Dean. If you know that's another thing. He's a good player and he's long, but teams have kind of picked on him a little bit. So right now it's the ones to watch out tonight would be Vita Vea and Carlton Davis. And the word from the Bucs is that they're going to work out Davis before the game to see if he can go. Let's get to the lineup changes here because, again, we'll get to them in a second. Their depth is being tested, as you said, and it's 100% correct, is that the Eagles, even if the Eagles were down 2 D tackles, they've got 2 other D tackles who can play. They're like 7 deep in a way, although some of those guys in the back end aren't really tested. But the bottom line is they have guys to go to where the Bucs the Eagles are so rare to have 6 or 7 guys you can go to is crazy.
Yeah. All right, so the lineup changes. In for Kalijah Cansey will be Mike Green, a 2022 undrafted free agent tackle, kind of a lunch pail guy. I mean, he was an undrafted guy.
Yep.
So you're asking him to kind of step in and fill the role of a guy they picked in the first round.
Right. Yep. And then Carlton Davis, you've got Zion McCollum if Davis can't go again, who really got drafted due to a Senior Bowl, and plus from analytical data, he really matches up. I know the Eagles were pretty high on him a couple years ago. Yeah, it was last year, amongst other teams that who are higher who look at the analytical data, and he matches up pretty well. So he's a guy, if Davis can't go, you're going to go after, no question about it. So that'll be interesting to see what happens here if these guys can't play tonight. And the inactives will be out. The inactives should come out at around 5:45, 5:45 during our show, by the way, tonight. So we'll break right in there and give them to you.
Yeah, we will. All right. So obviously transaction, we do know that they're going to need a punter unless they plan to play this game without one.
They're elevating man. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do that. They're going to elevate Braden Mann. Yep. They'll do that by 4:00 today. And then if they choose to use that second elevation, like we said, it could be at wide receiver. Running back would be dark horse. Is there any other position? Maybe corner, slot corner, just to have a body there, maybe.
I don't know if the new kid, Tywone Mullen, was briefly with them before. I know he's only a slot.
Right. The fact that he's a slot corner by nature makes me wonder if he gets an elevation.
Oh, Garner. I'm sorry. Garner is on the practice squad, so I'm sure they'll elevate him.
Yeah.
Considering he took, I know he didn't play great, but he took majority of the slot reps last week.
Mekhi Garner took slot reps?
I mean, Goodrich.
No, Goodrich. Goodrich is already on the 53.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No. So the point you're just conflating the two guys. They could elevate your guy that you were just talking about, Mekhi Garner.
Tywone Mullen, yes.
Or they could elevate either. They're both on the practice squad, but I think because of where they are at the slot, it would more likely be Mullen.
All right, so let me talk about Garner. I was told that with Mullen from a scouting source around the league said that basically with him is you could cross-train him to be to play the slot, but he's better on the outside. He had a nice training camp. But Goodrich was the guy who played the majority of the slot reps. All these undrafted free agents, Eagles have so many of them, either on the practice squad or 53. But that's how I mix them up. But anyway, that's it. Yeah, I mean that's really it. Is it going to be Goodrich who took most of the slot reps after Max got hurt? Will they mix in Bradbury? Will they mix in Evans? He has played the slot before. I mean, will they just go with a committee? The way they did it, and this is the way teams always do it when you go through an emergency situation like this, is go through practice and you see how guys are comfortable. You try certain guys. As you said, Geoff, they had longer to do this. I know they didn't practice till late in the week, but the coaches had time to go back if they needed to go back to training camp, look at the practice tape, look at the preseason tape, and see how comfortable these guys were.
That's right. Okay. So that's our up-to-the-date information on the injuries, the matchups, and what's going on. We're going to take a short break and come back and give our predictions. First, we want to remind everybody about our friends at PHLSportsNation.com, enhancing the fans' experience with their coverage of all Philadelphia sports teams for the fan, by the fan. That's their motto, so make sure you check them out at PHLSportsNation.com and on Twitter at PHLSportsNation. Let's also hear from our friends at Sky Motor Cars.
Sky Motor Cars in Westchester is a different sort of dealership. All it takes is one look at their Highline pre-owned vehicles that people all over the country want and need. Owner Brett Schulter makes sure you don't spend a dime of your money before you purchase the car. Sky Motor Cars allows you to make all the decisions regarding your next vehicle. At Sky Motor Cars, you never have to spend more than necessary. Visit SkyMotorcars.com today or call 610-918-7225.
And if you happen to stop in the Sky Motor Cars in Westchester, PA, make sure you tell them Adam Geoff sent you. You will get a great deal. I was thinking about maybe stopping over and see our friends on my way back from Happy Valley on Sunday as I was at the Penn State game Saturday, Adam. But I don't know if you've noticed, but the weather has been absolutely shitty, and I did not want to stop anywhere.
You know, the
It was
the
awful.
rain. Yeah, you know, by the way, Sky Motor Cars does sell convertibles. For those who can't really find them anymore. If you're like me, who likes a ragtop, one of these days I'm going to do it. It's kind of like a bucket list kind of thing.
Yeah.
My wife used to have one, a cabriolet, a Volkswagen. She loved having hers, but sold it years ago. But anyway, yeah, Sky, by the way, is right off 202 in Westchester. So check them out if you're in the area. If you're looking for a used car, like the Eagles players do, players around the National Football League, Sixers do. I know the Sixers players have them. Got cars from Sky. Check them out at SkyMotorcars.com.
There you go. Love it. All right. And by the way, awesome game by Penn State. 24, nice 31-0 shellacking there of Iowa, our nemesis. All right. Let's get to our predictions. You go first. Who wins this game? By the way, I believe the line is 7 with an over-under of 40. Last I checked, I think it was 45.5. I'm sorry. Did I say 7? 4.5. 4.5.
Yeah, I thought it was 4.5 or 5.5. Yeah. See, here's the thing. So it's 6 a.m. Eastern on Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't know yet if Carlton Davis is going to play or not, because as you said earlier, if for some reason, I can't imagine both will be gone, but Vita Vea seems like there's a better chance that he'll play than Davis.
Mm-hmm.
But if for some reason something happens, both are out, to me, this is a 10-point game or more.
Okay.
I see it if they can't play. But right now, I'm going to go with 23-17 Eagles.
Eagles win 23-17. Okay.
Yep.
So you know that for as long as we've been doing this podcast, when I do scores, I always tell you, it's not always to me about the paper matchup, right? Like there's stuff that does not show up on paper that happens in a game. A guy gets hurt. There's a trap game element. There's bad weather. There's something. Turnovers. You can never predict when turnovers are going to happen, right? I don't know what it is about Raymond James Stadium, but whenever the Eagles go there, it is not the easiest of games. I think, I remember them winning at the last second on a Nick Foles pass to Jeremy Maclin against a Tampa Bay team that I'm pretty sure started like Chris Sims that day, or maybe it was even Josh Freeman. I don't know. Could have been, I might be mixing up two games, but it's for whatever reason, that stadium is not always kind to them. I think the Eagles are the better team. And on most occasions, I would say the Eagles are going to win, and they're going to win, if you played on a neutral field by 10, maybe more. But for whatever reason, I don't like the vibe of the game. I think the Buccaneers are going to win. I think something crazy is going to happen. I'm not saying I think the Buccaneers are the better team. So I don't want anybody thinking like, oh, I'm a hater. No. Yeah. I just listen, like Washington last year. Was Washington great, or did the Eagles fumble the ball? No, I didn't. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Nobody would have picked the Eagles to lose that game, but they lost that game because they turned the ball over 4 times. It wasn't that Washington was better. On paper, the Eagles were way better, but they lost. And I do think that that's going to be the case tonight, Monday night. I think the Bucs are going to win 26-23.
26-23. Wow. Okay. What's the over under?
I thought it was 45.5.
Okay. So that would go. You usually go over. I usually go under.
Yeah.
The pass game tonight, and I know you could play zone behind if you blitz a lot. You could still play zone behind it, but the bottom line is there's going to be some opportunities because Hurts became one of the better quarterbacks against the blitz last season.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this is a game where A.J. Brown gets involved. We'll talk to Cosell and Avant tonight about that, about what the opportunities might look like against Todd Bowles tonight and his defense. But the bottom line is they got to get their passing game going. I understand last week. Okay, they did the right thing by running it because the defense couldn't stop it. Just like the Green Bay game last year. If they can't stop it, keep doing it. It's good coaching.
Right.
But here's your first opportunity. If you could protect, they should be able to protect. It won't be easy because they've got some good pass rushers. Tryon Shoyinka, who's a former first-round pick, is really good. Shaq Barrett's back from his torn Achilles. So they got guys who could rush the passer.
Yeah.
But the Eagles could protect, so it's going to be a fun game tonight.
I agree. The Eagles can protect. I think what Tampa will do, as they usually do, is send more guys than the other team has blocking, and that could cause some problems. Some tip balls, some turnovers, some, fumbles and things like that. And by the way, if I'm right, and we'll see, if the Eagles lose, that will be a horrific weekend for the NFC Beast, which is already off to an 0-3 start now. So we will see what happens. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Inside the Birds, the leading podcast in Eagles Intel. For Adam Caplan, I'm Geoff Mosher, and as always, we thank you for flying with us inside the birds.